In the last 4 years, I've been trying to understand what is it that China did that made its economy progress. I wouldn't call it miraculous. I would call it an example. It's the 7th largest desert in China. And if you go there, it's like an agricultural wonderland. It produces. In my nearly 29 years of service in the UN, it has been a singular privilege to work as the United Nations Resident Coordinator to China. Why do I say this? This is a country, back in 1979, was amongst the poorest countries in the world, with over 90% of the population in abject poverty. The per capita GDP was $180. In fact, most of the countries of Asia, Africa had a higher per capita GDP than China. When I see China's growth from then to now, I wouldn't call it miraculous. I would call it an example where right public policies, political will, and partnerships have been exemplary. Yes. Because this is a pathway for many other developing countries in the world to actually emulate this model. Yeah. So it has been a meteoric trajectory, but there are certain things that underpinned it. So in the last 4 years, I've been trying to understand what is it that China did that made its economy. Number one, there was an investment in human capital. Enormous investment in human capital, which basically is today's generation, your parents. They're brought up in a time where they had access to good education, access to good skills, science, technology, engineering, math, all these skills, so you developed a human capital. Within that human capital, women went into the labor force, as Chairman Mao said, that, women hold up half the sky. That was perhaps a singular moment where China's women were emancipated. They were able to get out and work. And therefore, at the household level, you have a man and a woman who's working. They have one child. What has happened is there is more disposable income, there is more investment in the child, better health, better education, better nutrition, better educational opportunities. As a result, that child starts to grow and thrive. This is how the investment in human capital took place, and China's strong emphasis on its educational institutions, on investing in its universities, investing in its schools. And it is merit-based. It doesn't matter which family you come from, whether you're rich or poor. You pass your exams, you pass the Gaokao, you have opportunities opened up. Number two was a big investment in infrastructure. Now, infrastructure is key to the free movement of goods, services, and people. It is the bedrock of economic growth, economic activity, commerce. Exactly. So they invested in infrastructure and made sure that the entire country of 1.4 billion people was connected. Yeah. Physically, through roads and rails, yes, but also digitally. Yes. So it was a complete congruence that took place.
And the phone-based life.
Exactly. And the third big investment that they made in was business. The business acumen that an average Chinese has shown to me. I have lived in 13 countries and worked there. I have visited over 100 countries. There is a particular business acumen which is encouraged. That is why I talked about political will being so important, and therefore this spirit of entrepreneurship. Yes. And that is what gave China's economy the velocity that it needed at the microeconomic level, and therefore this macroeconomic growth. Today, the economy is an $18 trillion economy. The per capita GDP has risen to over $12,500, and yet those many countries that had higher per capita GDPs than China in 1979 are lagging behind. So therefore, this intersection of human capital, of business, of infrastructure was key for this progress. China's speed in the digital and physical infrastructure, China's speed in 5G technology, China's speed in the green transition, China's speed in combating desertification. I've seen Kubuchi in Inner Mongolia. It's the 7th largest desert in China. And if you go there, it's like an agricultural wonderland. It produces, nearly 3 gigawatts of electricity. I mean, it's just incredible what it does from that small place. 3 gigawatts of electricity is produced by countries, So it's just remarkable what is possible. And so there are many things in terms of minimizing the urban-rural divide, and that is why the 14th five-year plan and the 15th five-year plan which is coming online, so that China is able to create a moderately prosperous society and have up to 800 million people as middle class by 2035. So that is just around the corner. So as the United Nations, we are fully committed to work with China on ensuring that the people and prosperity agenda progresses, that the climate agenda, because China's success will be the world's success and it will set the model for many other countries to emulate. We would need China's leadership in the climate agenda simply because what it has been able to do, the number of electric cars, batteries, etc., which have come online is just remarkable. Energy security is important, and today the green transition is the best guarantee of energy security, because the air is not going to change, the sun is not going to change. These are guaranteed. Now, if we can rewire our economies, it will not only generate the security that we need, but generate many new jobs. We need together to work with China, not only to improve the situation within China, but also use China's knowledge and expertise in the global south to help other countries to progress.
China has reached 5% GDP growth last year and reached 130 trillion RMB, another milestone in the year 2024. So how would you see the resilience and the growth momentum of Chinese economy?
It is fundamentally, the economic parameters and the structure of the economy is robust. It's a dual economy, it's a circular economy. By and large, it's a big marketplace.
Yes.
China's greatest advantage, its greatest asset is its people and a big population. So therefore, consumption and production is good. But China has to have markets not just within China, but outside of China. And therefore, this is where the spirit of collaboration becomes crucial. Therefore, I commend China for the Global Development Initiative that President Xi announced. It is a great initiative because what it allows to do is to help the developing countries develop. It opens up new opportunities for investment, not just from government investment, what I say in terms of blended financing, bring in SOEs, bring in the private sector, collaborate across private sectors with the host country where the investment is being done, with Chinese companies, and recreate a new economic model which is based on the United Nations system, a multilateral system of economic progress. This is in everybody's interest. Therefore, I commend China because the Global Development Initiative is precisely meant to be a stimulus for the Sustainable Development Goals. The Belt and Road Initiative is providing vital opportunities for not only connectivity, but making sure economic progress happens, which in turn contributes to the Sustainable Development Goals.
In recent years, China has done a lot in poverty reduction, climate actions, and Belt and Road initiatives. So do you think the two, China's goal or UN's goal are largely coordinated?
So China's leadership, and I can say this with absolute certainty, as the second biggest contributor to the UN budget, China's leadership has become even more important and crucial. And we need China's support to be able to galvanize the G77, the Global South, but also working with the European Union and with the US and everybody else to make sure that the multilateralism, that the United Nations system remains fit for purpose. China has important lessons to share, very important lessons. And this is where big data technology and innovation is going to be the key game changer. So I see 5 areas around which the world needs to work together on artificial intelligence, on quantum computing, on semiconductors, on fintech, biotech, so that we can really pump prime the kind of change that we need to see for the world to progress, for the world to see united move towards prosperity, but above all, for the world to feel a sense of equity and justice.